What is going on, everybody? It is going to be a good night tonight. Dave is filling in for Rap, and we're going to get right down to it right after. What is going on, everybody? This is SKOL Report exclusively on the Purple Code. I'm here with my guy Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk, filling in for Rap for the night. Rap has some other plans. Wife got in the way. I'm not going to say got in the way, but, had plans with the wife. But it's all good. We're going to have a good time with Dave tonight. How's it going, man? How you feeling? We're 8-1 going into
I'm riding high, man. I'm riding high, 8-1. You can punch me in the nose right now. I wouldn't fucking care.
You're numb. You're a little bit numb.
I can't feel my fingertips. I'm numb.
And we got another big game, and it's we got to follow up from another big road win. We got to go right into a big game against Dallas, an interconference matchup. And we still don't get any respect, man. That's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Usually I talk about the injury report, but we're going to start right with the storyline of the Vikings are underdogs at home against the Dallas Cowboys. The first time, I think they said, since 1968 or 76. I'm sorry, 1976. A team that was 8-1 or greater was a underdog at home.
Yeah, I thought it was like ever. I thought it was like the first time ever, but I guess
since they started recording, I guess, underdogs or spreads.
Yeah, one, we never get respect anyways, but two, I think they're just thinking about that just what happens in that past about coming off an emotional win and playing a real tough team the next week. When you look at what happened with us against the Eagles in the playoffs that year, and coming off the Minnesota Miracle, what it would be like. And I know the guys, and Cousins was interviewed on K-Fan, and they brought that up. He brought it up actually about how as soon as we got on the plane, we started talking about, hey, we can't let what happened in 2017 happen this year, even though he wasn't a part of the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're weighing that into it. Plus, people just hate us. They don't like us.
No, like I'm actually surprised because I'm feeling like after a win like that in Buffalo, the way it
and them losing to Green Bay, right?
Yeah, and Dallas losing to Green Bay on the road. Like, I mean, I think that comes into play as well. If you get a team off a loss and they're a little more desperate than a team that's coming off, like you kind of said, the Minneapolis Miracle, the emotion of coming off a big win like that. But I look at it on the other end saying, well, Dallas just played an overtime game. That was an emotional game. They just came out on the other end. They came out with a loss. So I can't necessarily put my eggs in that basket saying, oh, well, we're coming off that emotional win. I think we're going to come out flat. We can say the same exact thing for the Dallas Cowboys. But what the Dallas Cowboys do have in favor of them is they're kind of desperate right now. They need a win or they're going to fall to third? Are they third place in their division right now? I know they're not first, obviously.
I'll look while we're talking.
They're second because they have the tiebreaker with the Giants. So, but still, they're coming off a loss. Obviously, they're more desperate. It's dangerous either way, but I don't think we should be underdogs at home. Like, that's ridiculous.
They're third.
That's so disrespectful.
They're third. Philly, New York, Dallas. Yeah, they got one more loss than Dallas.
That's right.
Or then
they are
the Giants. They got one more loss than the Giants.
And then you got a Commanders team that's right behind them That's on a winning, not a
Game and a
winning
half.
streak,
Yeah.
because we won it, we beat them, but they're 4 of their last 5 are wins, so they're a game behind Dallas, I believe. So they could
Game
be
and a
in last
half.
place. Game and a half. Okay,
Yeah.
game and a half. So they could be looking at last place, and in 2 weeks they lose this game. So I think they're a little more desperate coming into this game, but I don't think us being dogs at home makes any sense. And we opened up as 2.5-point underdogs, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's down to 1.5.
It was down. Yeah, I heard it was down to 1.5, don't it? You would think, that we'd be better, be ranked higher because of the home and the stadium we play in and
Yeah,
everything, and but the way I'm also looking at it is I don't think that coming off the super high like we had that we would crash because of the new coaching staff, and I think the new mindset that we have. I don't think we were as a tight knit of a team this year as we were, or in 2017 as we
as
are
we are
this
this
year.
year.
I just feel like the coaching staff has built a culture that could withstand something like this. Man, these guys, and we got the hype machines of like the Darius Smith and Pat P in there, the veteran. We had the quiet leaders, Harrison Smith and Daniil Hunter, but now the only guy that was a hype machine. The only guy that was hype machine was
Everson Griffin.
Everson Griffith, but he was all over the place, right? So these two guys are like, focus, let's go. They can rein these guys in, I think. And then Brian O'Neill is a class act, and Zadarius Smith coming back. Everybody's like, all right, he's healthy. We're gonna be on, So I think they'll be focused.
He's gonna actually go. They're saying he's gonna go. He's gonna play tomorrow. So. Hey, what's up, Rap? Rap just tapping in right now. This man's with his wife watching YouTube. Come on, Rap. Hey, I respect it, though.
Did he tell you it was with his wife? Should I tell him the truth, Rap?
Oh, Rap, why you lying, bro? Why you lying,
I don't know.
bro?
It could be. He could have changed plans. I don't know.
Are you lying, Rap?
He could have changed plans. I don't know. Wow. He may be with his wife.
Get your priorities right, Rap.
Get you in trouble, Rap.
But speaking of Zadarius Smith, like I said, he plans on playing tomorrow. They said he said.
Then he lied to me. He lied to me. Apparently, he is with his
somebody,
wife.
Rap.
He lied to one of us. Damn it.
But Zadarius Smith will play tomorrow, barring any surprise. They said, but we will be without Caleb Evans and Dalvin Tomlinson again. I don't get why we didn't put Dalvin Tomlinson on IR. It's been 4 weeks, right? Since he's been out.
Right. So he has been out a while. And he's out this week. So, but
yeah, this would be
gosh,
the 4th week he's been out.
It's still where you only you don't dress 53, right? You dress like 46 or something like that, right?
No, you dress for 53.
But it used to be 46, so they must be okay. You dress 53 now.
Yeah, you dress 53.
Yeah, then I don't know why they didn't do it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. Maybe they felt like he was gonna come back a little bit earlier, but
that'd be the only thing.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's out for Thanksgiving as well, because you got kind of like that mini bye after that Thanksgiving game, which is less than a week away. We got 2 games and they said 5 days, which.
Yeah.
And we got a late Sunday game as well. It's not a morning game. So that kind of sucks as well.
I come from an era, a place where we didn't have a whole lot of guys on the team. So when you're like a junior, you're playing JV and varsity.
Oh,
you might play a game on a Wednesday in JV and then go play varsity. Oh, that was some painful days.
Yeah, I mean, you were young enough to where you could take that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but you got to look at those older guys like Zadarius Smith, which I'm glad he is playing in this game against Dallas because we're gonna need him. But then you look at a guy like that, which he's a little banged up right now. It was a knee contusion. It's nothing structural or anything like that, so it's nothing long term we necessarily have to worry about. But guys like that, Patrick Peterson, older guys, those are guys that you kind of want to look at on these short turnaround games. Say, are you going to be able to get this done on a Thursday? Or are we going to see a lot of young guys kind of tapping in on this Sunday game against Dallas? So, yeah, but Evans out, Tomlinson out. Big one, Christian Darrisaw will play. He was at a concussion protocol on Thursday. I think that's the biggest key in this game. For Dallas, Ezekiel Elliott is back, even though Tony Pollard has been kind of carrying the load for that offense for the past, 3 weeks now. And then Anthony Barr, guy you want to look out for, former Viking, is questionable coming into this game, as it seems like he's always been for the past 3-4 years.
That's a surprise.
But I think he'll actually play. I think he'll play against his former team. And that should be, something interesting, something to look at, quote unquote storyline, depending on how much playing time he does get. But like I said, Darrisaw, I think, is the biggest key in this game, because Dallas's pass rush is so lethal with Micah Parsons. And I believe DeMarcus Lawrence will be playing this Sunday. I think he's banged up. He was limited in practice, I think, this week. But they'll have DeMarcus Lawrence as well. So I believe they're leading the league in are they leading the league in sacks? I know they're towards the top of the rankings in sacks and pressures. But as we know, man, we got to keep Kirk clean, give him some time for him to put on a show for this offense and get this ball downfield to JJ like we actually got last week, outside of a few times. But yeah, Darrisaw, man, as far as he goes, how big of a role do you think he plays in this game, Dave?
I mean, I don't, concussions are, different scale, right? They're just, you never know. And this seems to be one that didn't set him back at all. Maybe might have been one of those overcautious things during the game. And then Evans apparently wasn't. Maybe it was a little more severe. And it's kind of hard to believe like a lineman could get a concussion, but they hit each other's heads all the time. So you kind of wonder how it happened. I didn't actually see the play that it happened. So, or maybe he fell back on the back of his head. I don't know. He could be susceptible to that. But the fact that they made the decision right away, I think it was on was it Thursday or Wednesday? Wednesday or Thursday? One of those days.
Thursday when Darrisaw came off.
Yeah, it was Thursday early. I remember doing a short on it. But I feel like he'd be 100%. And I would think that he'd be hyped for this game. He's been solid all year. I can't name a game that he had a below average game. Either it was good or exceptional, so I feel like let's run right behind him. And Cleveland rebounded from the previous game to this last one.
Yeah, he did.
Big time.
Yes, he did.
So I feel really good about that left side right now.
Yeah, no, most definitely. It's going to be a big game on the ground, I think. Dalvin Cook against this Dallas Cowboys run defense, which isn't a very good run defense. You got to go right at them. And usually teams like to run at Van Der Esch. But I think it's a big Dalvin game tomorrow, under 24 hours away. But I think it's going to be a big Dalvin game, man. I know last week he had the big 81-yard run, but he hasn't really put together a full game yet. Just like this team, pretty much. I don't think anybody on this team has necessarily put on a full game, maybe besides JJ. So I think
he had the one where he broke 116. Then he had the one that he could have had a full game if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, but it's all been on one big long run for the most part on each of those 100-yard games, right? Or am I tripping?
You might be right, but the one where he got hurt, he was at like 96 yards, and he didn't have a run over 15 yards, in that game. But yeah, you're probably right, because he did have a pretty decent size, like 50-yarder in that other game. But you get those, right? And he's been averaging. Well, for that game, I believe he was averaging 4.6 yards a carry, and now he's averaging 5, and which is his biggest yards per carry of his career currently. And if he, people have written him off, wanted him traded, he's over the hill. Joe Spinoza, just calling me out, Joe. that he put him out to pasture, but then he goes and wakes up this team with 1 run, and that may be the turning point of the year.
Yeah.
You think every game has been a turning point of the year, but being down 7, I think it was down 17, right? Because we went to 10 after he got that touchdown.
Yeah.
That was that's just woke us up, and then maybe it woke up a sleeping giant. And I'll when we get maybe talk a little bit more, I'll talk about what I think about where our offense is compared to the rest of the league.
Well, yeah, Dalvin provides that home run threat, and that's kind of where he compares to Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson would have games where he's getting those negative 2-yard runs, 2-yard, 3-yard runs where it's looking, like a struggle, and then he'll bust a 94-yard or 84-yard run, and now he's at 113 yards on the game in the third quarter. So, like, Dalvin's our home run hitter, and man, Darrell, your spidey senses must have been tingling, because as soon as you commented or right before you commented, I'm thinking in my head, like, Dalvin's going to have a big game, and I already have it on my bold predictions. Like, I can show you right now, bro. I don't know if you can see it, but I got Madison touchdown. Dalvin's getting in the end zone, and Alexander Madison's getting in the end zone. Shout out to Darrell Madison, Alex's dad, right there tapping in with us. I don't know if you guys noticed, he tapped in last week too. I don't think I was actually on camera that time, but he tapped in. Shout out to Darrell, my boy. But yeah, I think it's a big game for the running game, man. I don't think we get the same. Kirk threw for 140 yards, 350 yards. Right? We're not going to get that same game again. We're going to get the same 200, 250 yard Kirk, which is totally cool. I think this game is about the running game. And Dallas's run defense is very weak against the run. So you got to attack it. I think Dalvin's going to have a good game, and I think Alex is going to have a good game as well. But nonetheless, JJ is going to get his. He may or may not get over 100 yards. I'm going to say about 85. I'm not going to do all my predictions yet, but I think JJ is going to get about 85 yards, touchdown. But I think it's a big game on the ground. You think the same? You think it's going to be a big game on the ground?
Well, here's what I thought before Buffalo. I thought it was going to be a big game on the ground. It ended up being that because of the big run.
It was a big game for the whole offense.
Yeah, it was like I thought 150, and then, when we'd win the game, that'd be like a key to victory. And we were sitting at half with Dalvin Cook with 8 carries and 20-some yards. So and then instead it was, hey, let's just throw it up to Justin, break some NFL records. And I'm like, let's throw it, let him catch it, break like 3 NFL records in one game. Let's do that. And so I have no idea what's going to come out tomorrow, other than the fact that KOC apologized for not using Dalvin Cook enough early in the game. But I do, there were a couple plays where, like, Ingram stepped on his foot, Cousins' foot, and
those were 2 run plays too, weren't they?
Yeah, both were. Well, I don't know for sure if that was gonna be a run play on the second one, because I saw TJ Hawkinson go into a route.
Yeah, it could have been play action, possibly.
But it could have been a clear out route. I don't know. Who knows what they do? But he apologized for not using them enough. So I'm thinking that he'd be a little more focused in this game, and he had done it before where he forgot about him, like Philly. I think that was Philly where he had like 6 carries the whole game or something.
Yeah, no, it was all bad. But that's a tip the cap to Philly. Regardless, it's what you said, 7 carries, 8 carries. 8 carries isn't enough, but at the same time, Philly was doing a really good job against the run. And they're putting up points. We're saying, hey, look, we're down. What was it, 10-0? It became 17-3 or something like that. So we were in a position to where we kind of had to put the ball in the air. But we'll get our get back against Philly. I'm not worried about that. We'll get our get back.
Yeah, I was just using that as an example of him apologizing after the game for it, and then coming out the next week and doing something about it and giving it. Because I think then we played the Lions, right, and that's when he got hurt. But he had like 96 yards in the going into the fourth quarter. Yeah, and he got hurt, so he could have easily been over 100. And we were running I think we were running pretty well against them, especially he was having his best game. So I feel like he'll focus on that. He'll concentrate a little more on that. The play action will work, man. Cousins is one of the historically best at play action, and I want to see a little more of that, especially with a TJ Hawkinson. With the finally we got a big ass target right dead there in the middle, and could use the heck out of him. And so there's so much he can do now with this offense, and that's what I'm thinking as. We've been waiting for it to bust out, and every week we're going to say it's going to bust out. Well, it did against Buffalo, right? It did. And
when we needed it to, though.
What's that? And we want it to look a little bit cleaner, right? If it was a little bit cleaner looking, it'd been nice instead of these acrobatic catches and like, holy crap, how did that happen?
Yeah, but it was more when we were when we absolutely needed it in that game, and I'm not complaining one bit.
And that's what I'm talking about. Stop being so conservative the entire game until we have to do it.
Yes, we want to see it throughout the entire game, and we're starting to get into this rhythm of not a very good rhythm of our first quarter. We come out first drive, we're gonna put a touchdown on the board, and it seems every time we lead the league. Every time it gets me saying, "Oh man, this is the game. We're about to run through these Buffalo Bills. We're about to run through these Detroit Lions. We're about to run through these Chicago." And sure enough, we revert back to the. I don't even have a word for it. We revert back to the conservative, whether it's play calling, whether it's Kirk kind of slipping into this zombie-like state, or offensive line gives up, or we get into penalties. Like, I don't know what it is, but we get into this kind of lull to where it takes something to wake us back up, to where it's like, hey guys, well, this is your last chance in this game to make something happen for you if you want to win this. And we're like, all right, let's do it. Let's get it together. Let's go, guys. So
one week it's field position like Chicago, then another week it's these penalties coming out of our ass, like 10 of them. And we're still historic, as far as league wide, one of the fewer penalized teams, and still one of the better situational football teams. So you just want to put it all together, and I feel like the defense and the offense are starting to go on together. They're starting to play well at the same time. But yeah, penalties are going to kill us. Mistakes like Ed Ingram, stepping back on Kirk Cousins' foot. I'm like, I'm thinking Kirk needs to switch his feet a little bit now because of Ingram's doing that. Hopefully that doesn't continue.
They'll get it figured out. That's something small. I mean, it's not like we've been seeing it throughout the whole season. I think it
was a first.
That was the first time it's happened, and just a coincidence. It happened in the same game. So I think we'll be fine. I don't think we need to worry about that. One thing that we do need to worry about is obviously the Dallas Cowboys. The last 6 games between the Dallas Cowboys and the Vikings have been decided by 4 points or less. So are we expecting the same thing? Is it going to be another close game? I mean, it's trending that way for the 2022 Vikings. It's going to be like this every game. And especially when we play the Cowboys year in and year out, it's come down and it's been decided by 4 points or less. Is it going to be the same thing?
Yeah, I had them winning 20-17.
20-17.
Yeah.
Vikings, okay.
But I could easily see us just blowing, just kicking ass, what team's going to show up? Is it going to show up the whole game, But just for the fact that, we're coming off that high, we might have to dig deep a little bit, I just don't see us blowing them out. They had a good defense,
coming off that
plenty enough weapons on offense, right?
Yeah.
Pollard, he's probably better than Ezekiel Elliott, and I don't know if Elliott's going to play. He's questionable.
They said he's going to play.
He's going to play.
Yeah,
that might benefit us.
Yeah.
It might benefit us.
Definitely. Most definitely. No, so I feel like this before every game, to where it's like, okay, this could be the game we actually blow them out, besides the Bills game, obviously. And that I did say we're going to win by double digits.
I had us win by 3, and I was right, but I didn't have us scoring that many points.
You're right. I did call the 4 turnovers and Dalvin Cook over 100 yards, but it's all good. I'll take the win.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like this game could possibly be a blowout in our favor. It could be a blowout
It'd be nice, man.
in the Cowboys. It could go either way. It's up in the air for me, but I'm really feeling, just purely out of the disrespect from national media, from
That
Vegas,
helps us,
putting
right?
us at underdogs. I
put
love that because, I mean, keep doing it. I want them to keep doing it, for ride it all the way to the Super Bowl being underdogs, because as we all know as Vikings fans, we play a whole lot better as underdogs. And we're expected to win these games. We usually play down to our competition. We make it either tough on ourselves or we find a way to lose the game. Now, that may have changed behind a new regimen with Kevin O'Connell, and I believe that's the case. That's the trend we're headed towards. But with us going in back home after a big road win against the quote-unquote Super Bowl favorites, you go in, have a big win, regardless of how you got that win. People can call it lucky. We still had to go down there and put up points. Kirk still had to make those throws. JJ still had to make those catches. Call it what you will. I'll take the W. But you still beat the quote-unquote Super Bowl favorites at home in these weather conditions. It was cold. It was somewhat snowing half of the game. You go in there, you win that game, and you go home against the Dallas Cowboys team who just lost to the Green Bay Packers. And I don't care what anybody says and talks about how good Aaron Rodgers is. The Green Bay Packers are a bad team this year, and you lost to the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, you're going to have a little bit of motivation coming off that loss, but you're playing against an 8-1 Vikings team who, either way, finds a way to win week in and week out, and you continue to disrespect them. I know the team is looking at this. Obviously, the veterans, Patrick Peterson, Zadarius Smith. Kirk probably doesn't look at these things. JJ probably sees these things. Coaching staff sees these things. Hey, why are we underdogs at our house?
Oh, I'm sure that he says something to the team.
Yeah, that's a slap in the face to us. So I think we actually come out with some energy that makes up for being in that overtime game, that emotional road overtime game, and win. So I think that makes up for that. And I think we come out and there's a possibility that we can smack them around. I'm not going to give my prediction yet. But I think it's a possibility, man. And like we said, we're waiting on it. So
one of the storylines will be, hey, this is Justin Jefferson's curtain call from the past game. You know, it's his curtain call, and I'm sure there's people reminding him about what Randy Moss did against the Cowboys, right? You know, 3 catches, 100 and God knows how many yards for 3 touchdowns. And that was his big breakout game where he became like the thing, you know, a household name. And what a better game to be, you know, the premier game. He's playing the Cowboys, America's team, not anymore, whatever, and have a big breakout. But here's the one thing I had happen to me after the Phillies game. I know you probably heard Andy Chang from For the Win. I call him Fake Andy for the loss. But hashtag Fake Andy for the loss. Well, one of his followers was like, "Hey, you know Kirk Cousins can't win in prime time." And I'm like, well, what does that say about Josh Allen losing at noon, having 3 turnovers against a dome team at home with inclement weather? What does that say about Josh Allen? So I say you can look at it that way. So hey, he didn't talk to me after that for some reason.
I'm at the point where it's just, if you're gonna hold Kirk Cousins accountable, which is totally fine, I need you to keep that same energy with every other quarterback. That's where I'm at this point, because I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been on the Kirk Cousins hate side because he did some things, you know, earlier in his career with the Vikings. It really kind of irked me. I'm like, come on, Kirk.
Yeah, I was like the strip sacks.
It was really looking bleak at that point.
Fourth quarter.
But there's times where it's like, that's what I'm fucking talking about, Kurt. That's why we paid you. So it's just
started about week 4 in 2020 is when I was starting to jump on board.
Yeah, I'm at that point where it's like, look around the league just this season. Every quarterback has at least one bad game. He's gonna have a few bad throws during the game. He's going to have a game where he throws 2 bad picks. It happens. And that's what Kirk had. And they still managed to win that game against the Buffalo Bills. The thing is that we lost that game against Philly, and that's what everybody's holding against us. And they can hold that against us all season. I don't care if we end the seaseon 16-1, 17-1, and ride our way to the Super Bowl. You can continue to hold that Philly game against us. But it's just extremely disrespectful. But I think it's going to be a close game regardless. But I still think there's a possibility it can be a blowout for us. Just out of
I mean, it could be either. Honestly, I have a wide spectrum of what I think this game is going to be like.
It could go anyway.
But to add on to a little bit about what you're saying is, you've heard this, I'm sure. I would take this version of Kirk Cousins more than I'd take last year's Kirk Cousins or whatever year's Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, he was 9 in yards last year. He was 9 in touchdowns. This year he's 7. Going into this week, he was 7 in yards and 9 in touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
This offense is scoring 25 points. Last year was scoring 25 points. Last year was ranked 14th. This year it's ranked 8th. Yeah. So this year's Kirk Cousins is right on pace with every other Kirk Cousins year.
Yeah, about the same.
And we're 8-1. And go figure, we got a better defense and a better offensive line. That crap about Kirk Cousins has to have everything perfect. No, just give me average, and we got it. And now you see the wins. And that's been my point all along.
Yeah, and the thing is, offenses are down all across
the board. So it's all relative.
They're down, and I don't know what it is. I don't think maybe it's defenses are kind of figuring out how these offenses are doing now, where they're taking those big shots. They're playing more of a shell defense, which is the thing we were complaining about earlier on in the season. But the thing is that seems like every defense in the league is playing that shell defense to where, okay, we're not going to let anybody get behind us. We're going to keep everything in front of us. How many deep shots have we seen just in general in football? Not just Vikings game, because I know we haven't seen really any with Minnesota.
There's something TJ Hawkinson brought up because he actually played Dallas earlier this year, and he said how they play you. He said they played a lot of single high safety against us in Detroit. Of course, they don't have the same weapons we have here in Minnesota.
Detroit was more of a running offense as well. They wanted to bring that safety up in the box.
So that's what we have to go off with the TJ Hawkinson playing in Detroit. But who knows? Maybe they played a lot of man single high safety against us in Detroit. I don't know what they played.
They're more than welcome.
Yeah, please do. Please freaking do that.
Do it. Bring it up.
Buffalo did it on the first drive, and then look what happened.
Bring on that single high. We'll eat that up all day. Thank you very much. But like I said earlier, there's one person we kind of got to keep an eye on. I'm not going to necessarily think he's going to make a difference in this game, but just for fun, Anthony Barr could possibly be playing in this game. He's listed as questionable right now, but I do think he's going to play. Depending on how much playing time he does get, you think he's going to make a difference in this game, or is Anthony Barr just washed at this point?
I hadn't seen him play at all this year.
No.
I can't really tell you, but based on, he was spotty at best with us. Last year, I think he played better at the end of the year. I think a lot of guys, even Bradbury, offensive line, played better last 3 or 4 games this season. So I do think once he is healthy, once he had a few games under the belt, he did feel it better. I don't feel good about him coming off an injury and playing a good game. I wouldn't. So I would lean towards no.
No, you don't think you don't
historically, have you ever, when he came back from injury, did he play well? I don't think he did. I took him a while.
No, Barr seemed like that outside of maybe his first 2 or 3 years. He was always that guy that didn't put up necessarily a big stat game. He was more of the quote unquote does the right thing guy. He's going to take up blockers, or he's going to, play great pass coverage or whatever it is. But he never really stood out really necessarily. So, it's the same.
We drafted him and misused him his entire career. He was a 3-4 edge rusher.
Those first 2 to 3 years,
he could play anywhere, right? But if he was a 3-4 edge rusher, outside linebacker, I would have felt like he would be dominating. We might be talking about borderline Hall of Famer. But we misused him, put him in a 4-3. And we could have had Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
We passed on Aaron Donald. That year I was like, the guy I want is Aaron Donald. This year it was Jordan Davis.
You wanted Aaron Donald.
I wanted Aaron Donald. We passed on him. We drafted 3-4 linebacker into a 4-3, and I'm like, what the F? He was good. I'm like, okay, but what did Aaron Donald end up being? The greatest of all time. Same way with what was it? Tampa Bay back in the day.
Warren
Sapp. We passed on him and took Derek, God knows who, and he lasted 3 years.
What draft? That was the 2000 draft? What draft was that?
I don't know, but it was we took a guy from Florida State, Derek something or other.
He ended up I know exactly what you're talking about.
I forgot. I'm coming off the back.
If anybody remembers the guy's name, go ahead and throw it in the comments. But this is the next question, not just for you, Dave, but everybody watching. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that share button, guys. Who needs to win more? Who needs to win more? The Dallas Cowboys coming off a loss to the Green Bay Packers, dropping them to 6-3, I believe. Or the Vikings coming off a big road win against the Buffalo Bills in overtime, but still getting disrespected by national media and Vegas and fans. Who needs to win more, Dave?
Dallas totally needs to win more.
Dallas
they're third in the division.
Okay.
They're third in the division. That's, borderline not making the playoffs. They need to win more. For sure. I
don't know. I go back to the disrespect thing, man. I think that disrespect from the media is
who wants it more is a different story, but who needs it more? They need it more, but who wants it more will be determined on the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that we probably do. We want to prove ourselves week in and week out. And we're kind of looking at that Thanksgiving game against the Belichick on a short week, thinking we need to win this one now. We want to win this one now.
That's why I'm hoping it's a blowout. We need a blowout and rest
people in the third quarter.
Fourth quarter. Man. We need something like that.
We need it like in 2009 where we rested Brett Favre a couple of times, like middle of the third quarter, or an Adrian Peterson. We've had games like that, right? I don't remember a game like that in the past.
No,
I can't even tell you. I don't remember a game in a while that we've actually sat some people in the end of the game.
The last game I remember is 2017 against the Cincinnati Bengals.
I was in New York City when that happened, and I was listening to it on the barge.
Teddy came in.
I was listening on the barge on my phone while I was circling the Statue of Liberty. I was on the boat, Statue of Liberty, listening to the game on my phone. So I couldn't tell you who left the game or not.
Yeah, no, that's the last time I remember where we actually.
Yeah, it was a blowout.
I think we crushed them. I think it was 30-0 at that point, and there's about 5 minutes left in the game, and it put Teddy in. It got emotional. The crowd was going crazy, chanting Teddy, and he ended up throwing an interception on like the second or third play. But no, I think that was the last time I remember personally of us sitting our starters in the fourth quarter and throwing in backups. That's the last time I remember.
I remember where I was when that game. Yeah.
This is a beautiful, beautiful year, beautiful game. Just ended sour. Hey, but we might get our revenge, man. The way it's looking like 2017 almost this year. I'm not saying that's how it's going to end, but having the Eagles and us kind of battling for that number 1 seed right now makes it pretty interesting. It just sucks that they have the tiebreaker over us because of that week 2 game. But, hey, man, I think it's up for grabs. I think that number 1's up for grabs right now. So let's get to this prediction, man. I know you said you had your prediction. Oh, Justin found Derek
I was right about Derek Alexander.
Yeah, Derek
A
Alexander in
stiff son of a bitch from Florida State, and he was god awful. Barely played for us. I think he started a few games, but man, Warren Sapp was sitting there. But because he smoked a little weed, we pass on him. And thank God he didn't pass on Randy Moss. I mean, he smoked a little weed. But yeah, that pissed me off. And then Warren Sapp goes and wins the Super Bowl. We pass on Aaron Donald. He goes and wins the Super Bowl. We pass on Jordan Davis. Dude, Philly's like 8-1 right now. I'm like, we better beat these guys and break the curse.
Man, we passed on Rager. Now he's gonna get a Super Bowl. See what I did there?
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I don't think it would have been better picking Rager. I do, however, like him as a returner. I think he's good as anybody out there. And he kind of scared me with that one catch.
Yeah, he did.
But it was wet. It was a little windy.
I'm gonna stop mentioning his name because every time I say something, because my two closest friends I watch football with every Sunday are Eagles fans, unfortunately. So they hate Rager. The fan base absolutely hates Rager in Philadelphia. And it has a little bit to do with Justin Jefferson. But when Rager first got there, he started talking back to the Philly fan base because he would have a bad game.
You want to meet him in parking lots and stuff.
Yeah.
The Eagles, me and Rapp were on a couple of Eagles shows during that week, and they told us about that.
Yeah, so every time I see us, in punt return position, sometimes I'm like, okay, Rager, let's go. Rager's about to take it back to the house. And he makes it very difficult for me to continue saying that because every time I say that, he's bobbling the ball. He's making some weird acrobatic catch that he shouldn't be making for a punt return.
I don't know if I'm seeing the same thing as you. I know there was a couple where he ran.
Well, no, he doesn't do it all the time.
He had like 15 yards and he didn't go anywhere. That was like one bad return.
Every time I say his name, he messes up. So I said, I'm going to stop saying his name. For the most part, he's been great. For the most part, he's been the safe bet, worth the 5th round pick.
One of the things I like about him is he plays center field and he's under the ball. He's not drifting. He gets to it, he reads it well, and he's not drifting.
Yep.
And that was the ISM's problem. And I'm like, we can't go into this season with ISM returning punts because he was like,
I tried to tell people.
But Rager catches it, man. And he bobbled 2. He dropped 2 earlier in the year.
Yeah, he just scooped them right back up though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no muffs lost so far this year. So knock on wood, that stays the same.
It sounds like a different show. No muff lost.
That's the name of my next podcast. No muff lost. But yeah, Dave, how you feeling about tomorrow? I need your prediction for the game, and I need a bold prediction. Everybody out there watching, Justin, I know you're tapped in. Everybody else, give us your bold prediction and prediction for the game. Dave, let me hear it, man. Give me the details.
Diggs is gonna get burnt, and Diggs is gonna get burnt like a lot. He's gonna try to show up against Justin. He's gonna burn him, and he's gonna match the. I guess this is what will happen then. Because I had my 20-17 prediction, that doesn't leave a whole lot of room. So that means 3 touchdowns by Justin Jefferson, and that means a missed extra point. So, which is totally possible and not a bold prediction. Man. But hey, Justin Jefferson, 3 TDs.
Wow.
He's gonna come out like Randy Moss in Thanksgiving, and this is 5 days before Thanksgiving.
Time of the year. It's the time of the year.
It's the time of the year, and everybody, I guarantee you, they're gonna play that clip of the 3 catches for touchdowns, the 3 catches, the 3 touchdowns, and there's a stat now that Justin Jefferson has more 175-yard games compared to Thielen, Moss, and Chris Carter combined.
Jesus.
Yeah. 175-yard games. He's got more than all 3 of those guys combined.
Oh man. We are wide receiver dynasty over here. I think we've conquered that position as an overall franchise in our history. Moss, Carter, Justin Jefferson. We love Thielen. I'm not gonna throw Thielen in the greatest, quote unquote receivers out there. But we got 3 of the greatest receivers in I'm gonna say it in NFL history. I'm gonna throw JJ in there. 3 of the greatest receivers in NFL history, all Minnesota Vikings. Got to be proud of that, man. Got to.
Who has more like defensive linemen and receivers that are like amazing throughout as a team? Throwing Anthony Carter, AC, and Ahmad Rashad. Different game, right? That was like 70 catches, but for 20 yards a catch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And back in the day, so like Ahmad Rashad, Anthony Carter, Thielen, we didn't figure out he was any good.
Yeah.
At least our coaching staff couldn't figure it out until year 3. And we had to wait for Diggs to get hurt for him to get to play. Yeah. So, I mean, don't get me started on that. Diggs doesn't dress. Thielen doesn't play the year 3. Justin Jefferson doesn't start. We just hate freaking rookies. I hate them.
Man. Zimmer did.
Yeah, new coach.
We've moved on. We're not there anymore, Dave. Don't worry.
Hey, can I plug my show?
What was that?
Minnesota Sports Talk. Go check it out.
Yeah. Go and tap in. Subscribe to that YouTube channel.
Giving away this Chuck Foreman jersey.
Oh, yeah. Let's tap in on this real quick. Joseph Ortiz says, man, imagine we would have traded for Tyreek Hill. I heard he was a Vikings fan as a kid. So there's a clip going around. I think it was like last night.
Who wasn't?
Took it off his Twitch. And Tyreek Hill pretty much confessed his love for the Minnesota Vikings. Somebody asked him if he had a choice to play for any team, who would he play for? And he said, man, I would play for the Vikings. I would
take him in a heartbeat, man.
Man.
The thing about him, the thing about him is when the play breaks down, he finds the opening. He's one of those, he's like an off shooting guard.
Yeah,
that's constantly moving.
He's Steph Curry of the NFL. You gotta give him that Steph Curry of the NFL if you want to talk outside of quarterbacks. That home run guy, man, he gets you from deep. But
and then he's just deadly from anywhere, right? But I love that he's always finding that spot to get open, and that's what made him so successful in Kansas City. And I kind of dissed him in the offseason. And I
did too.
Forgive me, Tyreek Hill, please. when we play your ass in the Super Bowl, don't take it out on me.
Is that a foreshadowing of a Super Bowl prediction?
Foreshadowing. Yeah. What year was it that we played them? I was at Super Bowl 3. No, that was Kansas City.
No.
I forget what year it was. 78. I forget.
76. I think was the last time we went, right? Or was it 78?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I can't remember now.
No. So hold on. Right? Side note: are you picking the Dolphins to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC?
I was gonna say Kansas City. Some East Coast Gridiron asked me which team I was most scared to play, and I said, and it was before the Buffalo game, and I said Kansas City.
Yeah,
I said I mean, I was like, I just playing against an offensive genius like that, and a quarterback that is like this younger version of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I think they're the same player. That's the way I feel about them. And with a better personality, and a better leader. So I'm scared of that team, and more than I am. And I would put Miami second, and only because their defense is a number on us, and they have so many damn weapons.
And then you would put both Buffalo number 3.
Yeah, I'd put Buffalo 3 now.
After
we spanked them.
Well, Buffalo's one of those teams. If you get them in a real tight game, they're not very good situationally. And you can look at our game going into, I think, the fourth quarter. They only had 1 or 2 penalties that game. We had 6 penalties for, I think, 50 yards. By the end of that game, the penalties evened out. I think we both ended up with 7 penalties each or 6 penalties each.
We're going to be playing them in Arizona. That's what I'm saying. If we go, we would play them in Arizona. It'd be a different story. They would even have to travel farther. They would have to an extra hour time difference. We would,
Yeah.
of course, it wouldn't matter because they'd be there the whole
Yeah.
week. But yeah, I just feel like we have better off. Kansas City, Miami. I just feel like are just tougher competition. I kind of felt that after I saw them play the Packers.
I would want no parts of Kansas City whatsoever. No parts. I don't. Do not give me Kansas City. Hey, it might be the Bengals again. You never know. But let's get there. I don't care who we play if we get there. Just get there, and let's talk about that when we cross that bridge.
And I tell people all the time, we're podcasters. We can talk all we want. We're not on the field. We're not coaching. We're not Vikings employees. We can look ahead as much as we freaking want.
I don't want to get my hopes up.
I don't know how many people in the chat says, "Hey, don't overlook." I'm not. I mean, it doesn't matter what I think.
You can fantasize, right?
Yeah, I'm here to just talk. About the Vikings. I'm not pulling any triggers.
Yeah, this year feels special though, man. Like I understand we're not. If you look at roster wise or however you want to look at teams, I can sit here and agree with you if you say we're not the best team out there, but not the best team wins the Super Bowl every year.
I think we're not the best team right now because of just the new everything that happened and the fact that we have individual talent that's doing individual effort to make this happen. Because look at the defense and then individual effort, causing turnovers, but that giving up tons of yards. Individual effort. I made the claim, and Justin hated this, that this is the best talent we've ever had since 1998. And in 2009 we had this and that and this and that and this and that. I'm like, dude, we got all pros, future Hall of Famers. We got an offense with all these weapons. Compare Justin Jefferson to any receiver that we've had since 98. I'm going to say, well, we got a better receiving core because we got Justin Jefferson. So, but on defense, like Patrick Peterson, Daniil Hunter, Zadarius Smith. Tomlinson was having a career year until he got hurt.
The only thing we're missing is accolades. So the thing is, if this team goes deep into the playoffs, goes to the NFC Championship, and possibly finds a way to get to the Super Bowl and wins it, if you win it, then people are going to start looking at this team and say, oh, wait, you know what? They had a lot of great players on that team. They have a great teams. All these guys that you just mentioned, it's all of a sudden that narrative of, oh, well, the Vikings don't have a very good team. I just don't think they have it on every level. That all of a sudden switches because then people are going to start looking at it like, oh, my God, they have Harrison Smith. He's a Super Bowl champion, future Hall of Famer now. Patrick Peterson, future Hall of Famer. Zadarius Smith, all-pro. Daniil Hunter, Pro Bowler. So Eric Kendricks, Pro Bowler. So that's just the defense. And then you got Justin Jefferson. You got Dalvin Cook. Justin Jefferson, you can possibly say is a future Hall of Famer. It may be too early for that.
2 all-pros and Hicks and Kendricks, both all-pros.
Hicks and Kendricks. So it's once you get those accolades, okay, you got the NFC North title. Now you're a 1 or 2 seed. You make it to the NFC Championship game. Now people start looking at you saying, wait a minute, they actually have a really fucking good team. Look at the guys that they run out there with. Whether it be deep or not, we got guys out there on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball. But the thing that worries me is the freaking kicking game. I don't care what anybody says. The kicker scares.
You think it was just the weather? You think it was the wind, the weather, the cold? We were kicking it to the 5-yard line.
He's missed 4 PATs this year, man. This isn't just the. Hey, it was the wind was.
He's made every field goal under 50, but a lot of them were, there. I think Ryan Longwell on. Let me give a shout out to Vikings Happy Hour on Climbing the Pocket. They interviewed him. And he says there's no such thing as a chip shot in the NFL. I believe that there is. But I just think this is what I didn't like of coaching decisions is like, hey, let's not we're 0-0. We got the ball on the 46. Let's not set Greg Joseph's record kick on the first kick of the game and give them the ball at the 50.
Yeah.
All right. And what happens? They get the ball at the 50. They go score. They go score again. Now we're down 14-0. Punt that ball.
Yeah.
Punt that ball. Bury it. And play. That's where, hey, let's not put them in bad situations early in the game. Let's leave a 56-yard kick for the end of a half or the end of the game.
Yeah. If we absolutely need to have it.
Yeah. I just don't put them in that situation. Was my point.
And the thing is, it's too late to go out there and find another kicker this late in the season. You just got to roll with who you got. And hey, look, he's not terrible. It's just he worries me. He scares me, man. Whether that be PATs or whether that be field goals, I hate having the anxiety of not being comfortable with my kicker. So that scares me leading up to these games going into the playoffs, especially this big game against Dallas. But going to my prediction, man, coming into it, I looked at it two ways. You could lose this after emotional win on the road, but like I said earlier, Dallas is also coming off an overtime loss. So they just had a long, grueling game. They just came out on the other end with an L. But I said to myself, if Zadarius Smith plays, we'll win this game. So it's looking like Zadarius Smith is going to play. On top of that, I think we're going to, like I said earlier, our run game is going to get together this game against the Cowboys. I think Dalvin Cook goes for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I think Madison gets in the end zone as well on the ground. And I think a big factor outside of Zadarius Smith in this game is that Christian Darrisaw is playing. That was huge. Getting him out of concussion protocol, going up against his Dallas Cowboys pass rush. You needed to be at full strength, especially with your tackles with Christian Darrisaw. So big
starting at corner.
What was that?
Who's starting at corner?
Andrew Booth will be starting at corner. So not Duke Shelley. I'm sure Duke Shelley will be getting his reps. But Andrew Booth Jr. is going to start at corner. So something to look for. He's going to be matched up on CeeDee Lamb a lot that game. I know Rick.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's avoiding Pat P.
Yeah, as they should. As we saw last game, as they should. So keep doing it. Keep doing it. It's going to come back his way eventually. But, again, Christian Darrisaw, definitely a big deal in this game. Micah Parsons is a game wrecker. You got to be at full strength on your offensive line against this team. Number 2, this team has a huge chip on their shoulder. Huge chip on their shoulder. Big road win, and they still feel disrespected from the national media. Mostly everybody's picking the Cowboys, from what I've seen. Everybody's picking the Cowboys. Vegas is picking the Cowboys going into US Bank Stadium, which, granted, the Cowboys are 3-0 in US Bank Stadium. 3-0. And they're 4-1 in the last 5 against the Vikings. So, I mean, we got to give credit where credit is due. But this team feels disrespected. And I think that is a big motivation piece for this team. Continue to disrespect us, and we're going to continue to win games. So I think that plays a big part in this game. And I think it could be a surprise blowout, kind of what we talked about earlier. I think this game has the potential to be a blowout for the Minnesota Vikings, just off the disrespect that we've gotten after that Bills game.
You said something about them being 3-0 in US Bank or something like that.
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys are 3-0 in US Bank. They are 3-0. Granted, the last 2 wins against the Vikings in US Bank haven't been Dak Prescott. They've been Andy Dalton and Cooper Rush, but we're not going to talk about that. The last time
Cooper Rush went on to win 3 more straight games.
Hey, man. Hey, the guy's 6-1 as a starter? We're not the only team that lost to him. But the last time Dak actually beat the Vikings was in 2016, his rookie year. That was a Thursday night game when Mike Zimmer was actually out and special teams coordinator Mike Prefer had to come in as the interim head coach for that game. So it's been a while since Dak has actually beat the Minnesota Vikings. If you guys remember, Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings went in to Jerry's World in Dallas and beat the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Eric Kendricks with a big pass deflection at the end of that game to win it. But again, the Dallas Cowboys are 4-1 against the Minnesota Vikings in their last 5.
That's something to talk about too. People are talking about how we have a terrible primetime record. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 4-4.
It's improved the last 2 years.
It's like 4-4 on Sundays. It's like 4-4 on Sundays and 2-9 on Mondays. And I tell people the Super Bowl's not played on a Monday.
Nope, played on Sunday, baby.
So we got a 50-50 shot. Shot.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. But I think it's going to be close, man. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I almost do this every week. And I think it's going to be a blowout, or I believe we're going to lose. But I think it's going to be another typical one-score game, one-score Minnesota Vikings win. And I think the Vikings come out on top 30-27. And it could possibly be another last-second Greg Joseph field goal for a win.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be close. We're 7-0 in one-score games, right?
Yeah, 7-0. Eventually, that's going to run out. We're going to slip up and lose one of these games. We cannot continue to win all these close games. And this may be the game. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a game where we slip up. We're playing a good, very desperate team who's looking at the back end of their division right now. So I think this could possibly could go either way.
And so is Buffalo, thanks to us.
Yes, Buffalo's third place too. They're 0-2 in their division. They lost to the Dolphins and they lost to the Jets. So
yeah,
Buffalo. We get it together, Buffalo. But Joseph says 3 rush TDs. Does that mean Kirk's streak ends? No. I think Kirk still gets a passing touchdown. Like I said, I have it 30-27. So Dave says there's going to be a missed extra point. It looks like I'm right on board with you thinking there's going to be a missed extra point somehow. So, but I think it ends 30-27. Kirk's streak still goes on. It's passing touchdowns, but 2 touchdowns for Dalvin Cook, and then also another touchdown for Alexander Madison. That Madison touchdown might be in the air. That might be Kirk's touchdown. Felicia Carlson, what you got, Felicia? 21-10 Vikings, huh? That would be outside of the Packers game, that would be our biggest win of the year as far as score goes. Because I think we beat Miami by 8, if I'm not mistaken. So
that was one score.
That'd be our biggest win there. But hey, look, a blowout is possible, guys. It's not out of the realm, but either way, it's going to be an entertaining game, fun game. It's America's game of the week, as it seems like every Dallas Cowboys game is. But it should be fun at 1:25 Pacific time, 3:25 Central time. So we are, quote unquote, a primetime game, America's game of the week. So time for Kirk to show out, man. So anything you want to leave the people with before we get out of here, Dave?
I don't got a whole lot. I think I said it all. I love this team. It's probably, I was talking to Wabi. Everybody knows who he is. I think he's the director of media, and he worked for him for 15 years. He said, he saw special teams over the years, and this is one of them. Like, this is a camaraderie that he didn't see in other teams, including the 2017 team. So he sees this as the 2009 team type of bond that they had, that they, the leadership that was in the locker room. He feels like it's that type of special team. And I feel the same way, man. I think this is a 2009, a 1998 team. This is a special team, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely feeling like a family more than it's almost ever been. So you got to love it. And it's kind of injecting confidence, not only into the players, but in the fan base. Definitely myself, from what I see, and just the way we're finding ways to win and seeing these guys have each other's backs, man, it's definitely encouraging. And
because if you remember in 2017, we were like, who's going to be the quarterback all year long?
Yeah.
And they were dragging that shit out.
Yes, they were. And I don't know if that necessarily benefited us throughout the season because I think everybody already knew Case Keenum was going to be the quarterback after his 7th, 8th start and 6th win in a row, 7th win in a row. So this year's it just feels different, man. It just feels different. This team is special, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm already looking forward to waking up tomorrow morning, checking out the morning games, getting loosened up a little bit, and checking
I
out
envy you. All
this
the
game.
games are done pretty early for you.
Yeah. So the first game start at 10 a.m. My Vikings game will be at 1:25 out here. So it'll be fun,
Yeah.
man. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you everybody for tapping in. SK Dave from the Minnesota Sports Talk. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. He's also exclusive on the Purple Code as well. Check out him and Rap's show on Tuesday evenings here on YouTube and Facebook Live. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. This is SKOL Report exclusively on the Purple Code. Peace.